The first thing Queen Zerthala noticed was the silence. Not the peaceful kind, the terrible, suffocating quiet that followed slaughter. Her throne chamber lay in ruins. Once, it had been a cathedral of light and crystal, its vaulted arches humming with the power of 1,000 systems bound to her will. Now it was a grave. Shattered hologlyphs flickered weakly in the air. Burned armor and fallen bodies, her guards, her advisors, her kin, littered the floor. The rebellion had been thorough. Zerthala lay pinned beneath a slab of collapsed ceiling, her lower limbs crushed, her armor cracked and sparking. Pain flared through her neural lattice, sharp and constant. Her emergency beacons were dead. Her ship, the Star Crown, drifted powerless at the edge of a dying sun. An immortal queen, conqueror of worlds. Trapped. She closed her glowing eyes, preparing for the one thing she had never truly faced. The end. Then she heard coughing. Human coughing. Her eyes snapped open. At the far end of the ruined chamber, smoke parted to reveal a figure dragging himself forward with one arm. His legs twisted uselessly behind him, crushed by debris just like hers. Blood streaked the metal floor in dark, uneven lines. A human soldier. She remembered him now. A prisoner taken months earlier during a border skirmish. Considered insignificant. Broken in battle. Kept alive only because he was no threat. Apparently, everyone had been wrong. "You're still alive," the human rasped, his voice hoarse but steady. Zerthala watched him crawl toward her in disbelief. "You should flee," she said, her translator humming softly. "This ship will collapse into the star within hours." He laughed weakly. "Yeah, about that." He reached the fallen slab near her and leaned against it, gasping. Sweat poured down his face. One arm hung useless at his side, bones clearly shattered. "I can't walk," he said simply. "So, looks like I'm staying." His name was Daniel Mercer. He told her that in the quiet hours that followed, when emergency lights cast long shadows across the broken throne room. He had been a combat engineer once. Earth military. A specialist in fixing things that didn't want to be fixed. After his capture, the Dominion had deemed him harmless. Crippled spine injury. Damaged legs. No implants. No enhancements. No value. When the rebellion struck, alarms screamed and prisoners were forgotten. Most died when power failed. Daniel survived by crawling through maintenance shafts, following the sound of fighting until he found the throne chamber. He hadn't known she would be there. "I thought maybe I could help," he admitted, embarrassment coloring his tone. Zerthala studied him. His body was weak. His species fragile. By every metric her people valued, he was nothing. Yet he was here. "You owe me nothing human," she said. "I am your enemy." Daniel shrugged, then winced in pain. "You're hurt." "So am I." "That's kind of where my list ends." She did not understand that. Her people abandoned weakness. A fallen queen was already dead in their eyes. Survival belonged to the strong. "Why stay?" she demanded. "Why not die trying to escape?" He met her gaze, unflinching. "Because you're still alive. And I won't leave you." The words were simple. They shook her more than any weapon ever had. The middle hours were a test of endurance. Daniel scavenged what he could: portable power cells, a ration pack, a medical injector he barely understood. He stabilized her crushed limbs as best he could, hands trembling but careful. He injected himself last, teeth clenched against the pain. Outside the viewport, the star swelled larger, its gravity slowly pulling the ruined ship toward destruction. "You could still go," Zerthala said quietly as he collapsed beside her, exhausted. "Drag yourself to an escape pod." He shook his head. Pods are gone. Rebels took them. Even if one was left, I wouldn't make it. She processed that in silence. You chose to die with me, she said. No, he replied. I chose not to let you die alone. That concept alone hit something deep inside her. Queens were never alone. They were surrounded by guards, fleets, subjects. Yet in this moment, stripped of power and authority, she had never felt more isolated. Until now. As hours passed, they talked. She told him of her rise from a minor brood matriarch to empress of the Dominion, of wars won and worlds burned, of how strength had always been the law. Daniel told her about Earth, about oceans and rain, about hospitals filled with wounded soldiers who still joked through the pain, about staying behind so others could leave. You humans are illogical, she said at last. He smiled faintly. We get that a lot. The ship groaned as another section collapsed. Time was running out. Rescue came when neither of them expected it. A small fleet translated out of hyperspace at the system's edge. Dominion loyalists who had tracked the Star Crown's last signal. They found the ruined ship barely holding together. When they reached the throne chamber, weapons raised, they froze. Their queen lay broken, and beside her, a human, bloodied, crippled, shielding her with his own body. He refused to leave, Zerthala said before they could speak. Her voice carried authority even now. Remember that. Daniel woke in a medical bay days later, gravity steady and artificial light humming softly. His body was wrapped in regeneration fields. His legs still damaged but stabilizing. Zerthala stood beside him, no longer armored, her injuries bound in shimmering casts. You survived, he murmured. So did you, she replied. The Dominion reeled in the aftermath. The rebellion crushed. The nobility restless. Many whispered that their queen had grown weak, saved by a human, no less. Zerthala summoned the High Conclave. She appeared not on a throne, but standing. This human stayed when all others fled, she declared. He defended me when he had nothing to gain. He showed loyalty without command, courage without strength. Murmurs spread through the chamber. In our darkest hour, she continued, he embodied something we have forgotten. That power is not proven by who you abandon, but by who you protect. Then she did something no queen had done in 10,000 cycles. She knelt before a human. The ending. Months later, Daniel stood on a balcony overlooking a rebuilt capital world. His legs required braces now, advanced Dominion technology fused with human medicine. He could walk again, slowly, painfully, but on his own. Beside him stood Queen Zerthala, her empire changed forever. You could return to Earth, she said. The Dominion will honor the treaty. You will be remembered as the human who saved a queen. Daniel watched the sky, where alien ships and human envoys now shared orbit peacefully. I didn't stay for history, he said. I stayed because it was right. She turned to him, her glowing eyes softer than he had ever seen them. And will you stay now? She asked. Not as a prisoner, not as a symbol, but as someone who chose to remain. Daniel considered the question, the weight of two worlds balanced on it. I stayed once when it mattered most, he said at last. Seems wrong to leave now. Zerthala extended her hand, not in command, but invitation. He took it. In that moment, the galaxy shifted, not because of fleets or firepower, but because a crippled human had once whispered, I won't leave you, and meant it. And an alien queen had survived because he stayed.